Roger Smith, come on down. Oh, you're here. I got to sit down. I'm sorry. Well, here we are with a group of racers, and I do mean racers. These gentlemen, been there, done it, got the scars to prove it, and their pocketbooks are a little short, too, from racing in the days. With us today, down here to my left, Bill Service. Raise your hand, Bill, when yeah. Danny Deutsch, Roger Smith, Johnny McPartland, and on the far left of me, Tom Jones. Let's have a big hand for these guys. True racers, and I do mean true racers. Bill Service, you've won a couple of championships at Raceway Park. Somebody told me you used to sell Pepsi at Raceway Park and championships at Ileana Motor Speedway, I meant. Tell us a little bit about your racing career, and I'll share the mic here with you. Or you have a mic.
Oh, I got a mic. Here we go. Well, my racing career actually started when I was 10 years old at Ileana. I'm sorry, I got the wrong tracks there.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Yeah, at Raceway Park, I used to fill pop for my dad, and then got a little bit older and became a vendor, and then eventually I got into racing. Well, I had to get divorced first before I got into racing. It's kind of backwards of everybody else. But, yeah, I started racing enduros at Raceway Park and raced there for a couple of years. And then sad to say, we lost Raceway Park and went to Ileana Motor Speedway and had some very good luck at Ileana. And I had a lot of good guys to help me out, through the years and stuff like that. And we were very, very successful and enjoyed every minute of it.
How many championships in that street stock division at Ileana?
I won 5.
And that was kind of a tricky little quarter mile, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. We went through a lot of breaks real quick.
Yeah, I remember brake rotors kind of glowing, and but you did a real good job out there, Bill.
Yeah, our rotors used to glow so much you could put a hot dog on it and cook it in 30 seconds. But yeah, it was a tough track to drive. Setup was the key, just like any other track you go to. Eventually you find out what works, what doesn't work, and a lot of times you try new stuff and that doesn't work, so you go back to the old school stuff, and I still believe in the old school stuff works really good.
And you're still racing. Grundy County Speedway on Friday nights, not every night, but good part of the summer.
Yeah, good nights. There's times we've had a good car, and the problem is when you race part-time, you kind of lose that little bit of a feel every now and then if you haven't raced for like a week or two, and you got to readjust to the car, and that's probably the hardest thing. But I'm in it for the fun. I enjoyed this right here, seeing some of the fans that still come around, and some of the old drivers right here. And me and Danny here, we used to sell popcorn and peanuts and pop back in the day right here. So then I got my father-in-law next to me, so I got to plug him in.
Be good. Behave.
Yeah.
Bill Service, always good to see you.
Hi, thank you.
And are we racing this summer at Grundy or somewhere else?
We're doing 6 nights at Grundy, 6 to 7 nights. Right, honey? 6, 7 nights? All right, and then we're doing Rockford for the Bahama Brackets. All right, and...
she said 5 only.
Well, we're doing 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
All right. It is a very hard sport to get out of.
Yes, it is.
And I know my time is coming, and I'm going to have to put the old for sale sign on it, but it's coming pretty quick. But I enjoyed every minute of it.
Bill Service, always good to see you. Good luck with the racing this year. Bill Service, everybody. Danny Deutsch. I remember you running in that hobby stock division, and number 36, you and Paul Sluzy had a pretty hot rod there for a while.
Exactly.
When did you start racing there, Dan?
When I was 18 years old. I was, again, a vendor with Bill in the stands when I was a younger kid, and I always told myself, this looks like a whole lot of fun. This is when I turned 18, because I was told that's how old you had to be to start racing. So I got my first car with a friend of mine, Phil Randall. If you remember Phil.
Number 99?
Yes, yeah. And then got obviously the hooked on it and was doing it ever since for 22, 23 years, I want to say.
Looking back, some highlights. What kind of sticks out in your memory as far as your racing career?
Well, certainly that we had more success in the hobby stock division than we did in the late model division. When we ran good in late models, but didn't win as much as we would hope we would have. But we found out it was a lot harder game to figure out the late models than it was the hobby stocks. But we ran with so many. The competitiveness in the hobby stocks was really, really tough. And obviously I won a championship in '84 in the hobby stock, so that certainly sticks out.
You never branched out, not or left the home track, Raceway Park. I don't remember seeing it at Iliana or Grundy over the years, and you guys kind of concentrated on Raceway Park, and if that was a tough joint to get around and some competition, there was some tough guys out there.
Yeah, we ran 2 times out at Grundy, but obviously the majority, certainly 100% of the time was at Raceway, and for whatever reason, we just enjoyed being at the track. It was close to home. Didn't have to take time off of work, like on a Friday, to go to Grundy. So we just wanted to concentrate at Grundy or at Raceway and just have fun doing that.
Dan Deutsch, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Stan.
Dan Deutsch, everybody. Fellow next to him, where's that 20? The check's in the mail, right? Roger Smith. Longtime flagman at Raceway Park, but I bet you a lot of people don't know that you used to race quarter midgets at the little track kitty corner from Raceway Park there where I guess Walgreens parking lot is now.
Yes, that's where I started in quarter midgets. My dad started the association way back in the late 50s into the 60s, and that was my racing career. I did do a few races at Raceway when we had official races. I don't think I ever won any, but we had a good time.
You couldn't win,
So
that would be like,
that was my career of racing.
Yeah. You even were featured in a Chicago Tribune, Sunday Tribune magazine. Boy, you were like a celebrity way back when you were racing a quarter midgets.
That was way back when. These guys weren't even, the only one that's probably old enough here is Tom Jones.
Oh, no,
The rest of these guys weren't even born.
He said he turns 50 this summer, he was telling me earlier.
I'm 35.
Yeah, right, and I'm 39 and a half. Roger, looking back at Raceway Park, we've talked about, taking over from your dad and getting hit at the racetrack. Never turn your back on the cars there at Raceway. And any other parts of your racing career, flagging career that stick out?
Back in the day, I had a good time with this guy here, Johnny McPartland, Pat Eklund, and the Waltmeyers and other guys. This guy next to me, he used to go by with a squirt gun in his hand, hot lapping and qualifying, trying to get me all soaking wet. Where I finally got myself one, and I would try to spray him as he went by. But
and the windshield wipers didn't work on it.
They didn't work, no.
They were out.
But, back then, I had some good times. The guys that raced with Tom Jones, Danny Collier and them, that was a good group of race drivers. The group with Johnny McPartland and the Waltmeyers. And then I go back to Danny Deutsch here, that crew, that age group. Had a good time with all of them. It's like they're just good friends still after all these years. In fact, Danny Deutsch grew up right behind us in Cal Park, so I knew him from a young kid. The guy on the end, I don't know how I got him. He's the son-in-law now. I don't know how he got along there. But I'm going to keep him for a while. I might, before the guy retires, I might even try to hot lap his car one night at Grundy.
Don't let that
Not
happen.
a promise,
Don't
though.
let that happen, Bill. Don't let that happen.
Maybe if I do something to it, he'll retire.
Yeah.
Right, Kerr?
Or you might become the permanent driver. Who knows?
No.
total
I
different-
don't think my wife over there, Darlene, would let me do that,
Roger, by the way, congratulations on being inducted into the Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame this year.
Thank you. And
I can tell people I know Roger Smith.
and I know Stan. But, it really amazes me that I'm the first one.
Father and son.
Father and son, yes.
Yes,
I
sir.
said, it's just a shame my dad wasn't alive, but that's just how it went. I mean, and I'm glad to see Danny Collier in there.
Roger, always great to see you. The check's in the mail as we've kidded each other over the years. Congratulations again on that induction into the Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame. Roger Smith, everybody.
Thank you. That's double payment you owe me now.
Fella down there, Johnny McPartland. How are you?
I'm fine.
Are
How
you behaving?
No.
John, we've talked on and off. I remember you coming to Illiana driving that the number 3 Nova with the wind-up key, Bill and Bev's car. But how'd you get started? I think you were kind of a garage rat, maybe hanging around Bill Koenig's garage back in the day.
I worked for Bill Koenig, and he taught me a lot of stuff there. I also worked at a place called Young's Auto Supply, and I was in the machine shop there doing stuff like I really like to do, is engines and stuff like that there.
Which you're still doing to this day.
Yes. And living in Calumet Park, being 5 blocks away from the racetrack, I always wanted to race there. So eventually, I had to wait till I was 21. I done some drag racing first, but then as soon as I hit 21, we built a Chevelle. It was kind of like a clone off of Billy Koenig. And we ended up being a whole bunch lighter than him, and if I had a better driver in the car, we probably would have been a whole lot faster, but, I had to do a lot of learning. I had this habit of not wanting to lift. And I think that was from the drag strip, you know what I mean? But I knocked the nose off the car, I don't know how many times. But then finally I calmed down a little bit and got going. And then with Billy and that, we went to Illiana for a while, and then we done some ASA racing and raced with Tommy here and Rusty and all the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, you ran, with the 3 car, Bill and Bev Skarpinski's car. You ran Milwaukee Mile. That had to be a big deal.
Yeah, that was a gas. Yeah, that was like our Daytona 500.
Yeah, I mean, them early ASA races there at early May, I think they were, or middle of May, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
wasn't it on a Thursday that we?
They used to
some of them
run
were on
there. I think they
Thursdays?
ran there 7 nights a week or 7 days a week. But
Yeah.
Thursday, they ran the fair races on
That's the
Thursday.
one,
and
yeah.
Saturday and Sunday, a lot of racing. And it's
Yeah,
sad today that that's not the case.
You'd come out there to go to Milwaukee, and there'd be 60 cars to
Yep.
qualify.
On a Thursday.
Yeah, on a Thursday.
Then we go race dirt.
Well, I remember, I think Elmer Steinbeck told me the story. You never wanted to bring your car to Nicky Chevrolet on a Thursday.
Because Billy had to leave.
Everybody left. All the mechanics were gone to the Milwaukee Mile for the races. And that's, John, looking at your career, what sticks out in your mind? It was some of the highlights.
Basically running ASA with all the real racers. No offense to anybody, but I mean, back then everybody had, kind of like class. In other words, you could run alongside of the guy and race the guy instead of just slamming him into the wall or not giving him room.
Well, they had
Stuff like that,
ASA
which-
definitely had some
class.
top class drivers. I mean, Dick Trickle, Bob Seneker, Joe Shear,
Shear.
Mike Eddy, guy next to you there, Tom Jones. I mean,
Is that who that is?
That's Tom Jones. But a lot of, talent. And like you said, 60 cars and to make the field was just an accomplishment.
I mean, we ran Odessa. There was 72 cars there at that time.
On the road course.
Not
Odessa, Missouri,
Odessa,
yeah.
Missouri, yeah. And we ended up having 14th fast time there.
Yeah.
I used Trickle's setup, which was good,
Yeah, he had kind of.
Yeah, he had a pretty good
He was
setup,
pretty good, yeah.
We started 55 cars in Milwaukee.
Yeah, on a
That's
rain
a
out or
fact.
something
Yeah,
at one time on a Thursday, I believe.
Yeah,
Johnny McPartland, always great to see you.
thank you.
Thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks, Stan.
Johnny
Thanks all you
McPartland,
people
everyone.
for coming out.
Finally, way down there at the other end, a fella that I've watched race for a number of years, and I was just a little kid when my dad took me to O'Hare Stadium back in the 60s. Tom Jones, always great to see you. Tom Jones, everybody. Tom, you started, tell us where you started.
Well, I started back. Can you hear me? Oh. Yeah. Started back at O'Hare Stadium.
McPartland.
Yeah, right. That's John. Back in, technically speaking, 1964. And I drove under an alias name because I was 20 years old, and you had to be 21 back then.
You're 21, and what are today? Oh, I'm 12. I'm racing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now they're 12. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
But I raced for Dick and Ray Beinlich, and we took turns in the car. And I won some features. I had to repair the car every time they drove it, but that's back when I worked on them all the time. And then in 1965 is when I bought a neighbor of mine's car. It didn't have an engine in it. Took my 56 Ford, took the engine out of it, parked it next to the house. My mother didn't like that. Put it in a race car. Went out and won a cadet championship, which is what they called it at the time. And I don't know how many features we won that year, but we made more money than we paid for the car, so that was a good thing.
Yeah. And then moved up in the late models.
Yeah, then I moved into late models. 1966, went with a Ford Galaxy, I think it was. Yeah. Blue one.
Convertible, right?
No, the hardtop was first, the
Okay.
white one. Then we made it into a convertible and painted it blue. Then we took the body off the next year. Whitey Gherkin at the time was running USAC, and he had a good sponsor, so he took the body off his car, a Fairlane, and we shortened up that car and the convertible and put that Fairlane body on it. Went racing. Then we got smart and put a small block Ford in the thing, and about every other week we were taking it out because we couldn't keep it together. But we raced that for a year, 2 years, I'm not even sure. And then we got into the boys' cars and Camaro and
Dillon cars.
yeah, well, the Dillon car was later. Then we built, I think it was a boys' car. I can't even remember right now. But Troy Robinson was my sponsor at the time. That was back right around 70. And we built a brand new car. And we went all over the country. We raced Grundy Friday night. We run, during the spring, we go to Waukegan Saturday, Ileana Sunday afternoon, back to Waukegan Sunday night. And race that way. And I did that for a year, and then we'd go down to Kentucky and race about once a month for sure. And then in the wintertime, in the fall, we'd go run the Triple Crown down in Florida, which was St. Pete, Sunshine Speedway, and St. Pete, that's Sunshine, or it's something else now. Golden Gate Speedway, that's what I'm thinking. That's gone in Bradenton.
A lot of racing, a lot of traveling.
A lot of traveling, you know. Fuel was about 60 cents a gallon back then.
Yeah,
I
you were
think.
telling me today what racing gas is going to cost, and that's another story. But over the years, Tom, I mean, you ran the local tracks, track championships at Waukegan and Grundy.
Should have been Ileana that one year.
Yeah.
Bobby won it, but I went ASA racing a couple times.
USAC racing, we skipped over that. I mean, you ran for Irv Novosel back in the day and ran his cars, number 43, if I remember.
Right.
And that had to be tough competition back then. I mean, you had factory-backed cars and, everybody from A.J. Foyt, Bobby Unser, Norm Nelson, et cetera, et cetera.
Don White.
Don White.
Yeah.
I mean, that was some top-notch guys there.
That was a tough division back there. Bowser.
Jack Bowser, right?
Bowser.
You mentioned Whitey Gherkin. He
Right.
was...
We did, that was a learning experience too. We didn't have the equipment that they had, but we had some good runs. It wasn't that good, but after that's when I started. Before I started the ASA program, I think I had won 175 features, all over, And once I got in the ASA, it was a different ball game, But we ran good. We had some years we run real good. Really only won one real race, down in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania, but run second and third many times at different tracks over the years, and we traveled all over the country.
Ran some Artco races also.
Artco races, I had
mixed
some
in
good
there.
success there. I
One
won
at
in Madison.
Capitol, I remember
Yeah.
that in Madison. Yep.
Won at Grundy with Artco. We run that that 5-race deal with that Chicagoland Experience deal. What was it with the Ruler Brothers? Remember they had
Tri-R Promotions.
Tri-R Promotions.
Yep. And
ran that.
That was kind of the predecessor for
Yeah.
Artco, really.
Yeah, that was a tough deal because we raced on Thursday night. We were up at Wausau and we were with Trickle and Miller and all them guys. And they closed the tavern at 1 o'clock on Thursday night, and we were still there at 7 o'clock in the morning outside. So That's the kind of experience you do when you go up in Wisconsin race with those guys.
Yeah. You had to have like Trickle. It was coffee, Pepsi, and
And beer.
beer. That
Yeah.
was it. Yeah.
Well, they went and inspected a truck going into Canada one time, and all the beer fell out on the ground. And they said, well, "You're not supposed to be bringing that stuff." He said, "Well, that's Kool-Aid to us." Something
It
like
is.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Those 12-year-olds in Wisconsin, it's Kool-Aid. Yeah.
We did the same thing going to Calgary one time. They took all our. You could only take so much in, and he said, "You can pick it up on the way back." So we did.
It was still
On the
there.
way back out,
Still
yeah.
there.
But then the ASA was a really good experience. I mean, there was a lot of tough competition there too, and you know, in a way, it was tougher than the USAC days.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you had Trickle, you had
Well, you-
Joe Shear, Mike Eddy, Bob Seneker,
Right.
and on and on. I mean, and then you'd get some visitors that would maybe only run a handful
Right.
of shows.
And there were some hammers there too, but you know, for the most part, the guys had respect for each other.
Looking at your career, which, ran the gamut from racing a cadet sportsman car at O'Hare all the way to ASA and USAC and everything else in between. Some highlights, Tom. What would you pick out?
Probably looking back at, winning against Trickle and Refner the last lap at Madison, Capital, at the time, one of them. Winning the ASA race at Jennerstown. Should have won Toledo, had a run out of gas because the gas man fell asleep. But anyway, back at Waukegan, won a lot of races at Waukegan.
You sure did.
Won quite a few races at Ileana, run a lot of races at Grundy. Where else? There's, I can't even think of all the tracks. I think I've ran over 100 racetracks all over the country.
And a lot of
All the
success.
years.
And a lot of
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
Tom
So-
Jones, good to see you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to talk. Everybody, let's hear it for these guys again. Bill Service, Dan Deutsch, Roger Smith, Johnny McPartland, and Tom Jones. Thank you very much.